Okay, boys and girls, we're going to be talking about some suffixes. Suffixes are a word part we add to the end of a word. We add it to the end of a base word, and it changes the meaning of the word. So we have two suffixes we're going to talk about right now. The suffixes er and or can mean one who or one that. And we've discussed these before this school year. When you add these suffixes to a verb, the new word is a noun. So here we are. The suffix, so let's look at that. One who or one that. So if you add er to the word play, it becomes one who plays. So you become a player. A player is one that plays. Like we have in our story, Burke is a soccer player. He is one that plays soccer. Conductor. Oh, we had a conductor in a story, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We've had that word before. I think it was a vocab word as a conductor. One who conducts. You conduct, you can be a train conductor, you could be a musical conductor, but it's one who conducts. Now, er can also have another meaning. It can be used to show comparisons. We can also have est. It's used to compare more than two things. So let's look. Er and est compare two or more things. When we use er, we're comparing two things. Oh, look, we have Zephyr is happier than Sam. Zephyr must be somebody's name. Zephyr is happier than Sam. So we use er to compare two things. We could say that Jensen is happier than Teddy about doing grammar. Okay? Because she loves grammar. We're just going to pretend, okay? We could say that Rocco is taller than Libby. Okay? We're comparing two things. And we add er. Now, if we are going to compare two or more than two things, which would be three things or four things, we would use est. And then we would use est on it. So we could say that I am the tallest person in the room because I've forbidden Logan to grow anymore. So I'm the tallest person in our classroom. Mikey as well. He's not allowed to grow either. So between the two of them, they're not allowed to grow.
What about Avery? What about Josie, my big sister?
Oh no, no one can grow. You just have to stay under 5'1" until May 25th, and then you could sprout up.
Yay.
But until that time, I am the tallest person in the classroom. est. You're comparing. So when you're comparing two things, you use er. When you're comparing more than two things, you're using est to make that comparison, boys and girls. So that's how we add those suffixes. Okay? So when you add these suffixes to adjectives, you use those comparisons. So, but we have to remember, when you add one of these suffixes to a base word ending in the E is dropped before the suffix is added. We would not want to have a double E at the end. So we drop the E before we add er or est. Now, if we have a base word that ends in Y, we follow our rule. We change the Y to what? Who remembers? We change the Y to a, Juliana? I before we add er or est. Now here we have another new little rule, everyone. When the base words end in a short vowel followed by a consonant, the consonant doubles before the suffix is ended. So let's remember this. When the base words end in a short vowel followed by a consonant, the consonant doubles before the suffix is ended. There's so many little rules to remember. So let's practice on our sheet. because we're gonna practice together because we have to remember our rules. Oops, I don't want that. I want this. Because we have our spelling rules to remember. Okay. Who'd like to try number 1 on our page? It says a suffix is a word part added to the end of a base word that changes the meaning of the word. Add the suffix to each base word below to make a new word. Then use the words to finish the sentences. And we'll have to be careful about words that end in E, maybe a word that ends in Y. So we'll have to practice, see if we have to double any consonants. So who'd like to try? Yanni, would you like to try number 1?
Yes.
What is it?
Y plus ER is rider.
And how do we spell that?
R-I-E-R.
Yes, we had to drop the E and then add ER. Thank you, rider. Who'd like to try number 2, please? Anastasia? How do we spell professor?
P-R-O-F-E-S-S-O-R.
Thank you. Professor. Number 3, Avery.
Pale plus P-A-L-E-R.
And what's that word?
Taylor.
Taylor. That one, pale ends in an ER, but we drop our E before we add ER. Ivy.
P-A-L-E-S-T.
And what word is that?
Payless.
Payless. Good. Number 5, please. Thomas.
Sillier.
How do we spell sillier?
S-I-L-L-I-E-R.
Very good. We have to change the Y to an I before we added ER. Rocco.
Silly.
How do we spell silliest?
S-I-L-L-I-E-S-T.
Very good, silliest. Now it says we have to use the words to finish the sentences. Juliana?
The second joke was blank than the first. Sillier.
Sillier. We're comparing 2 jokes. Sillier. Thank you. Oh, that's a number 1. They've renumbered them. Number 2, please, Logan.
I've heard silly jokes before, but that is by far the joke I've ever heard. Silliest.
Silliest. Can you spell silliest?
S-I-L-L-I-E-S-T.
Yes, thank you. Number 3, please, Kelsey.
Johnny is an excellent bike rider and knows lots of ways.
How do you spell rider?
R-I-D-E-R.
Thank you. Number 4, Elisa.
She has a college mate who teaches
Chemistry.
chemistry. Professor.
Professor. Could you spell professor for me?
P-O-F-E-S-S-O-R.
Thank you. Number 5, please. Clark.
This color is the palest of all.
Spell palest.
P-A-L-E-S-T.
Thank you. And number 6, please, Jensen.
Of these 2 paint colors, which one is paler?
Spell it.
P-A-L-E.
Very good. So let's put a nice star on there, and then we can put this away.